We came at last to what is known as the North Sentinel Island. Although some expeditions had landed here, the Sentinelese had never been sighted.
Just off the coast of India, in the middle of the Bay of Bengal, there is a small island called North Sentinel Island. It's about 50 kilometers from Port Blair, the capital of the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. The island is only about 20 square miles in size, which makes it roughly the same size as Central Park in New York City. At first look from above, it seems like a regular tropical island, green forests, blue water, and white beaches. But this place is one of the most mysterious and dangerous places on Earth, not because of the land or weather, but because of the people who live there. These Sentinelese people are one of the last uncontacted tribes on Earth. They have lived on this island for more than 60,000 years. They don't have electricity, roads, airports, or buildings. They don't use mobile phones, internet, or even metal tools in a modern way. Their way of life is simple and very old, what scientists call Stone Age. And the most shocking part is that they don't want any contact with the outside world. Not now, not ever. Their island is not on any travel list. There are no hotels, no tour packages, and definitely no welcome signs. The Indian government has declared the island off limits to protect both the tribe and anyone who might try to visit. That's because these Sentinelese have a very strong reaction to outsiders. They shoot arrows, throw spears, and do everything possible to make it clear: stay away. Despite being just 31 miles from Port Blair, North Sentinel might as well be on another planet. The people living there hunt animals in the forest, catch fish with spears, and cook food over open fire. They build small huts using leaves and wood. There are no written records, no schools, no religions known to outsiders, and no stories passed down in books. Everything they know comes from what their ancestors taught them. They live in complete isolation. But this isn't just a peaceful life in nature, it's a life of resistance. Since the 18th century, when the British first spotted lights on the island, outsiders have tried to make contact. In 1771, a ship passed by and saw flickers of fire from the island's trees. That was the first record of the tribe. No one tried to land. In 1880, a British officer named Maurice Vidal Portman led an expedition to the island. He and his men went ashore and captured 6 Sentinelese, 2 older adults and 4 children. He took them to Port Blair. The older 2 died quickly, probably because of diseases they had never been exposed to before. The children were returned with gifts, but the damage had already been done. The message was clear to the tribe: outsiders bring death. From that time on, the Sentinelese became aggressive. Anyone who got too close faced arrows and stones. In 1896, a prisoner escaped from a British jail and ended up drifting to the island. He was killed and buried in the sand, and during World War II, Japanese soldiers crashed near the island. They were never seen again. In the 20th century, the Indian government tried to send gifts, bananas, pots, coconuts, but the tribe mostly ignored them or responded with violence. Even helicopters were attacked with arrows. In 1981, a cargo ship called the MV Primrose hit the reef near the island. The crew stayed on the ship, watching figures with bows and spears gather on the shore. The people began to build boats to approach. The crew used iron bars and flares to keep them away. It took several days before a rescue helicopter came and took them off the ship. All of this shows one thing very clearly: this tribe does not want help, attention, or visitors, and they've kept their culture and independence alive by saying no to the rest of the world. In November 2018, this message was ignored by a 26-year-old American missionary named John Allen Chu. He had spent years preparing for a mission to bring Christianity to the Sentinelese. He trained in survival, learned basic medicine, and practiced speaking different languages. He believed he was doing something good. He thought he could help, but he was wrong. He paid fishermen to take him near the island. Then he paddled the last part in a small kayak. On his first attempt to reach the shore, an arrow hit his Bible. He returned to the boat, but the next day he tried again. This time he was killed. The fishermen saw tribesmen drag his body across the beach with a rope. His body was never recovered. News of his death spread across the world. Some call him a hero, others called him foolish and dangerous. Experts in tribal life were angry. They said he not only risked his own life, but the entire tribe's. These Sentinelese have no immunity to modern diseases. A cold, flu, or even a stomach bug could wipe out the whole community. John Chow's death also raised big questions. Is it right to try to save people who don't want to be saved? Should we leave ancient cultures alone? The Indian government decided not to go after his body. That island is too dangerous, and maybe that's the way it should be. Joe Rogan has talked about the island many times. He's amazed that a tribe like this still exists. In conversations with experts, he often says things like, "They don't know we've been to the moon, they don't know who the Beatles are," but he doesn't say it to mock them. He says it with respect. He sees their way of life as peaceful and free, no traffic, no stress, no phone addiction, just survival, nature, and living together. In 2004, one of the biggest natural disasters in modern history happened, the Indian Ocean tsunami. It killed more than 230,000 people across 14 countries. Coastal towns were wiped out, entire families were lost. The world was shocked. When helicopters flew over North Sentinel Island expecting damage and death, what they saw instead was something unforgettable. A lone Sentinelese man stood on the beach with a bow and arrow, aiming at the helicopter. He wasn't asking for help, he was warning them to go away. This was a clear sign that the tribe had survived the tsunami. Without any modern warning systems, without TV, phones, or even boats, they had managed to move to higher ground in time. Experts believe the tribe might have seen signs we often ignore. Animals moving inland, the sea pulling back suddenly, or the shaking of the ground before the wave. These signs, passed down through generations, helped them understand what was coming. Later, satellite pictures showed even that the tsunami has added more land to the island by lifting coral from the sea. While the modern world relied on technology to understand the tsunami, the Sentinelese survived using nothing but tradition and awareness. The Indian government has changed its policy over time. In the 1960s and 70s, there were efforts to contact the tribe. Researchers and anthropologists went to the island to offer gifts like coconuts, mirrors, bananas, and iron tools. Sometimes the gifts were taken, other times they were ignored or met with arrows. The tribe clearly did not want outsiders near them. By the late 1990s, the message was loud and clear. The Sentinelese did not want friendship or help, they wanted to be left alone. In 2005, after the tsunami, India officially declared a 3 nautical mile exclusion zone around the island. This means no one is allowed to come closer than that distance. Entering the area now is a criminal offense. No tourists, no journalists, no scientists are allowed. Even emergency helicopters are turned away. The Indian Navy now patrols the area to make sure the tribe stays undisturbed. So now, before you leave, just don't forget to comment down your thoughts on this situation, and while you're down there, make sure to hit that subscribe button as well.